Colorado's ugly surprise for thousands of families counting on the first year of universal pre-K.
I'm being told, surprise, now you have to pay almost $1,000 a month.
We follow a Coloradan displaced by the first homeless sweep under the new mayor, who actually went out to meet the people living there before today they were told to move along. Helping students learn the languages spoken by their ancestors. And we have some delicious news to round out this week.
My good news is after 3 years of hiatus, being able to bring back the Taste of Ethiopia Festival.
That's tonight on Next. The state is blocking thousands of families from free full-day pre-K just as the school year is about to start. Now, the state will tell you legally they only had to provide half-day pre-K. Our Marshall Zellinger looks at whether that's right.
Parents of 4-year-olds are seeing red because of a preschool decision that could cost them a lot of green.
I have to pay $500 a month, and that's like half of what I make in a month.
Over $800 a month.
Surprise, now you have to pay almost $1,000 a month.
These moms are just a sample of the thousands of parents learning in the last couple of weeks that the state funding they thought they received for full-day preschool is only going to be half-day.
I'm a single mom that works full-time, and, it's a struggle just to pay the mortgage and the bills.
Anna in Commerce City has a full-day slot for Liam if she pays half the tuition. 36,650 students are approved for half-day or full-day slots. The state covers the cost of half-day for all. Students with any one of these qualifying factors were given priority for full-day funding from the state until the math did not add up. 3,700 kids who were low income and one of the other qualifying factors will get full-day slots paid for by the state. 9,150 kids who had one qualifying factor will not get full-day funding, but they can keep their full-day spot if they pay half the tuition.
Even paying half of that, that's more than our car payments and car insurance combined. There's absolutely no way that can fit into our budget.
Janisa in Castle Rock is still searching for a solution for Lincoln. In Arvada, Sean is trying to apply for other state financial assistance for Christian.
I wish I knew a little sooner that I would have to pay $500 a month because I'm scrambling to apply for this funding. And if I knew earlier, I could have applied 6 months ago.
His teachers might be different this year. We might have to go to another school, to which he replied, I don't want to go to another school.
Earlier this week, Alan told us about his son Grant, who might not get to go to the Adams 12 school he was expecting because the full-day funding they thought they got was no longer there.
Obviously, that created a lot of upset among many of our parents.
Adams 12 will cover the cost for the 96 families in the district that thought they were getting full-day funding, but no longer will. It's going to cost Adams 12 $500,000.
That $500,000 we're going to cover through one-time funds, which are set aside specifically for unexpected contingencies exactly like this.
That's the rainy day fund. Aurora Public Schools is also going to backfill for the families that thought they were going to have funding. I'm not sure how the math works, but Aurora said 1,000 students are full day, and it's going to cost the district $1 million. 96 in Adams for $500,000, 1,000 in Aurora for $1 million. I got to figure out how that math all shakes out. But now you have other districts like, oh boy, if those districts are doing that, is that setting precedent that we have to do it? And do we have to do it next year if the state doesn't have enough money?
And we keep asking the governor's office about this specifically because this was his baby. I mean, this was one of his chief promises when he ran for office, and he delivered on it. And he got a lot of credit for delivering on it, but it's still your baby even when it goes to pre-K,
It needed an asterisk or some warning to these parents that said, just because you're accepted to full day doesn't mean you have funding for full day. And the governor's office already is saying the governor's pushing for next year for 18 hours for everybody, which means half day plus 3 more hours. And it's like, hang on. These parents that wanted full day want full day, and we're already talking about increasing, you're talking about increasing the half day, and people are like, where's my full day?
Yeah.
So
families make plans. They build their entire lives around these things. You can understand the frustration. Marshall, thank you. The scope of the data breach that hit Colorado's higher education department is just wild. Criminals got a hold of Social Security numbers and more for high school students, college students, and teachers. The state says it is everyone who went to public high school in Colorado between 2004 and 2020. Everyone with a Colorado K-12 public educator license between 2010 and 2014. And anybody who went to a public college in Colorado from 2007 to 2020. So again, that's a mess load of people. The state says it was a ransomware attack that they first noticed in mid-June, and they're contacting everyone who could be affected. First, Denver's new mayor, Mike Johnson, snagged a big name from the Biden orbit to be his chief of staff, and now he's bringing in one of the most respected Democrats from the state legislature who's going to give up his powerful role to help Johnson run the city. The State Senate Majority Leader Dominic Moreno resigned today so he can go run strategy for Johnston. Moreno would have been term limited out of the Senate after next year's session. He's been there since 2016. Before that, 2 terms in the state house. Johnston's first prominent hire as mayor was Jen Ritter as chief of staff. She ran Governor Polis's original campaign for governor before she worked on President Biden's 2020 election campaign. Colorado's Republican leaders will vote this weekend on whether to make it easier to keep unaffiliated voters out of GOP primaries. The far-right faction in the Colorado GOP wants the unaffiliateds out so that they can nominate more conservative candidates.
This is kind of dense stuff, but let me give it a try. When Colorado voters opened up party primaries to unaffiliated voters, the biggest group of voters in the state, they allowed parties to opt out with a 75% vote of their central committee. Getting 75% of those people to show up for a vote, let alone 75% to vote for something, that's really tough. So conservatives inside the Colorado GOP are proposing a rule change that would count every person who doesn't show up for that vote or doesn't vote in it as supporting their push to close the Republican primary to unaffiliateds.
Opponents to this idea, as in Republican opponents within the party, have said that counting the votes of everybody who is not present for the vote as being in support is Stalinist. Their words, not mine, Stalinist. Others in the party have pointed out that banning unaffiliated voters and nominating even more conservative candidates could turn Republicans' double-digit losses into even bigger blowouts. City of Denver did its first homeless camp sweep under new Mayor Mike Johnson today. Advocates told us they felt like it was done more respectfully than those under the Hancock administration. But the core issue still remains. The people who live there have nowhere to go. Here's Katie Eastman.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get out the way, yeah.
Maybe this time, move along will mean there's a place to go.
It is what it is.
Maybe James Lewis II won't sleep on another sidewalk.
But as far as where we'll actually be, I couldn't tell you right now.
Every time he moves, there's a question.
Okay, so what about over there?
What's that?
Across the street?
I can't tell you where to go.
Oh.
But just in here's going to be closed.
Yeah.
After the city clears out this homeless camp, James thinks there might be an answer.
We have a housing voucher.
After all, when Denver's new mayor toured the camp on Thursday, he talked to him.
He said he was going to send someone to talk to me about our voucher and get it expedited.
Who can blame him for having hope?
If I don't hear nothing by noon, then I would probably, chances are no one's coming. Hold on.
James lived around 22nd and Stout Street for about 9 months. But the city is clearing the camp because of a rat infestation.
Come on.
Across the street.
How you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm Joshua. I'm with the mayor's office.
James meets someone else with the mayor's office.
I know you spoke with the mayor and Daryl yesterday.
Yeah.
I know you've got the voucher and everything.
Yeah.
So the host folks should be able to help navigate that.
Host, a team from the Department of Housing and Stability, is here, but down the block.
All right, you two.
They're helping transport a pregnant woman and her partner to a hotel. An officer with the homeless outreach team says that kind of help comes on a case-by-case basis.
That's Josh that came and talked to you?
Yeah, Josh.
James waits here for several hours.
Hopefully, it would include the hotel stay.
But nobody from the city connects him to help.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Next time.
We checked back in with James this afternoon, and he still hadn't heard anything. He has the business card for someone with Host, but he wasn't able to reach them over the phone. So Kyle, he said he'll likely end up sleeping in an alley tonight.
It's a good reminder, though, that what happens in these sweeps is highly individualized to people who are at very different points in their lives, and you've kind of given us a look at where James is and where he might want to go.
Yeah, this was his circumstance today. Everyone has a different one.
All right. This is your last report here. After 6 years at 9 News, you have told some just amazing stories. A few of them here on Next, many of them on our other newscasts. I would say the one connective thread is you are always introducing us to people who make us think and who make us smile. Want to show a few favorites. Let's do it.
This crop top's on fire.
Hey, it's the fire department! As someone who uses they them pronouns, Julia knows they are not the typical bike mechanic. Harrison wakes up because of George Floyd and all the names before and after him.
Some of these kinds of things seem obvious.
I don't know what can change when your skin is the weapon.
Oh, you are wonderful. You are too. Oh, thank you.
We are called the Humming Nerds, and we have t-shirts, so if you want one, email me.
One step away. Thank you, good night.
So now your family's story is taking you to Oklahoma.
Yes.
You're going to stay in the news business.
I will.
Help some other reporters kind of learn how to do it, tell great stories, and be respectful to all the people you talk to. You know, that's been a hallmark of your work here. I just think it shines through in every story. So you're headed to Tulsa to do that.
Yeah, I'll be a manager of storytellers there, and I'll still be able to tell stories. But I'm just so grateful for the work I've gotten to do here with this team and with these people.
Well, you've done exceptional work here. I know everybody out there listening echoes that as well. So, Kate Eastman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kyle.
All around the Anschutz Medical Campus in Aurora, there are neighborhoods full of families who cannot afford to go there for care. And that is why the Dawn Clinic exists. It's right there on the same campus where medical professionals and students volunteer their time to treat people for free. Since Wednesday, you have raised almost $10,000 to support Dawn's work, the funds that they need to operate that clinic, to buy equipment, to get the medical supplies required to keep our neighbors healthy. The Dawn Clinic goes beyond primary care. They offer help with behavioral health, diabetes, cardiology, neurology, women's health care, not always what you would think of in a free clinic. Student volunteers also learn how they can best serve our neighbors who sometimes feel like they're outside the healthcare system. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in donating to your latest Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign.
It's beautiful that we're getting to reclaim this space.
Indigenous students in Durango taking back their heritage, literally, with their voice. And a wedding gone sideways in Aspen is proof that very rich people have problems too.
Let me get serious, stop.
And we're so full of your good news this week, sometimes we're at a loss for words. How about some joy? Next. May I make a recommendation? Something that's not from us, but I think is worth your time. I almost feel bad about this one. It's the story of a multi-million-dollar party gone wrong in Aspen, and it's proof that really rich people have problems just like the rest of us. Their problems just have more zeros on the end. The story comes from Justin Wingerter at Business Den. It's the story of a lawsuit against a celebrity wedding planner from a family that somewhat compares their misfortune to Pearl Harbor. There is an appearance, a performance by the St. Louis rapper Nelly. There were wedding reception chairs that were apparently too heavy to lift for that traditional dance where they go around the room. It was a disaster in a no one gets hurt kind of way that just makes for a great read. A story of the rich and, well, not famous until the story, which is available on 9news.com. In Durango, there's a college that is working to reconcile its past, and for some of its students, that starts with language. The All Our Kin Collective is a grant-funded program at Fort Lewis College helping students learn native languages. It connects students from a number of tribes with people who know and teach native languages in comfortable conversational settings. For Allie G., former student who works for the collective, it's a way to connect with her Cherokee roots.
Really what drew me to it was wanting to connect with people on that level, the same way my parents connect to one another, my grandparents connect to one another, the jokes they have. Like, I want to be in on those things and really understand where they're coming from when they're like talking to one another and connecting in that way.
So you may know, if you watch this program, we've talked about this, Fort Lewis used to be a Native American boarding school. And the school itself is working in a number of ways to grapple with that ugly history. Part of it is helping modern-day students reconnect with their heritage. Over a third of Fort Lewis's student population is indigenous. She says the collective is just one part of honoring their history. And she says as far as reconciliation goes, there is a ways to go. She thinks that Fort Lewis is really laying the groundwork for positive things in the future. Let's talk to our predictor of the future, Danielle Graham.
Good things on the horizon, Kyle.
Yeah?
Are you ready? Well, the weekend is here.
It's Friday. We'll take good news around here.
So that helps. Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I was kind of loving today. Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s, some blue skies, sunshine. Not really the wild weather that we were treated to earlier this week. So nice to have a breather. A gorgeous view across downtown Denver. Officially 89 out at DIA. A little warmer up there in Fort Collins, 90s in Sterling and Ray, 70s up into the high country. About 84 in Eagle this afternoon. We do have a couple of severe cells out there. They're primarily off to the eastern side of the state, but up and down the metro area, the I-25 corridor, you're good to go throughout the rest of this evening. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch going until 1 o'clock in the morning. Severe thunderstorm warnings now impacting Nebraska, heading out there around I-80, Ogallala, Lake McConaughey. You guys are seeing a wild storm push through. Give it a couple of hours. It should be long gone. The rest of this evening, we're good to go. Tomorrow morning, you'll wake up, mix of sun and clouds, and then by about 3, 4 o'clock, we'll get another round of storms that push through the metro area, and they could linger into the dinner hour around Fort Collins, and then again be back here in Denver later tomorrow evening. So just a heads up on that. Most of the severe weather tomorrow afternoon will once again be out east. Numbers a little cooler. We'll be back to the low 80s here for the city. 60s, 70s up in the mountains. A cold front moves through. How does 77 sound with another round of storms on Sunday? If you like the summer heat, it's back next week.
You want to say our good news first? Okay, our good news is... And then we say at the same time, yeah? No, you say with our seniors. I say 2, you say 4. Okay.
Hey, listen, it's your good news. You decide how you want to share it, whatever order you prefer. Time to turn the show over to something better than the usual news. Next. Colorado's second largest immigrant population is at the center of this week's good news.
The festival is going to be a complete cultural immersion. It includes food, music. My good news is after 3 years of hiatus, being able to bring back the Taste of Ethiopia Festival.
My good news is my son is graduating from Regis University with honor, and shout out to Medan Alamayo and graduating in neuroscience.
Our good news is we're going to Boston in 3 weeks. Go Terriers!
My good news is Jesus is the Lord. Jesus loves the world, including you. God loves you. That's my everyday good news.
My good news is the first thing, my son is 16, now he got his learner permits, a driving permit, and start driving. And my daughter is going to high school. She's going to ninth grade this year.
I feel like I get to be who I am when I dance, and like I get to be more a part of my community and my culture.
My good news is that I'm moving in with my best friend in 2 weeks.
Our good news is we're finally seniors, 2, 4.
Our hope is that the Taste of Ethiopia will be a Colorado culture and our legacy that we can leave behind for our next generations.
Taste of Ethiopia, Parkfield Lake Park this weekend. Hey, your feedback on my face, next. Allison writes, male anchor tonight sure looks like a midlife crisis. Not his best look. He was born with a certain look that's probably gotten him a long way. He might just embrace that. Allison, I'm pretty sure my look when I was born was naked and screaming, but I'm willing to try it on Monday.